Nick Wright joining us live, host First Things First.
Wow.
I bet you're not.
Total drive-by on Matt Ryan there. I mean, Matt Ryan, took the Falcons to a Super Bowl somewhat recently, won a league MVP. I agree with J-Mac that the Chargers maybe should be on the graphic, but the Matt Ryan erasure, he's still playing, guys. I know he's playing terribly, but we can't erase his entire NFL career. Hi, Colin. How are you?
I'm good. For the record, I bet you are not. I bet you at least buy my Cincinnati argument. That Buffalo drives you crazy, but Cincinnati's a compelling one. Fair or not?
Well, of course it's fair. That's why they've been atop Nick's committee's tier for 3 weeks. I'm glad you're catching up, Colin. You usually don't this blatantly crib my work, my friend. Cincinnati, ever since beating the Chiefs, they are exactly what the national media has pretended Buffalo is all year. They are the team that actually beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. They are the team that has the second best quarterback in the league. They are the team that can look Kansas City in the eye in a postseason game and say, we're not scared. And they are the team with a super duper star at wide receiver and the best overall receiving core in the league. So yeah, I got no problem with that. I still, and maybe it's unfair, have some questions about their head coach, but now we're really parsing. And I do think the injury to Chidobe Awuzie, their star corner from a few weeks ago, could bite them at some point in the postseason. But we also, here's the other thing, I got to be honest with you, Colin. It's not only that I think the Bengals are excellent, I'm also, for the next few weeks, kind of a low-key Bengals fan, because I do need a little help from Cincinnati, because if they can beat the Buffalo Bills in 12 days, you know who skyrockets to the top of the AFC for the 5th straight Arrowhead Invitational? The Kansas City Chiefs back to the 1 seed. If the Bengals can just give the Bills one more loss. I thought the Dolphins were going to do it. They fell apart, so now we need the Bengals to do it.
For the record, I want to talk about that. I said I thought Miami's game plan was smarter. I thought they outplayed them. They got Miami got a little bit of a weather break. It wasn't bad. Everybody's selling their stock on Miami and Tua. And Jimmy Johnson said yesterday, he's what you have. You do the best job with what you have. You've been critical of Tua. I have. But I thought he accounted for himself pretty well in that weather. Where are you today on Tua?
Let me talk Dolphins then Tua. I agree with almost everything you said about the game. I actually thought they could have run the ball more. I thought they were so effective running the football because Buffalo was so afraid of their team's speed. They could have run the ball more. And football's a funny game in this regard. The Dolphins are up 5, and they get a strip sack on Josh Allen, turn it into a field goal. Now they're up 8. The very next time Josh Allen touches the ball, he fumbles again inside his own 20. But his offensive lineman falls on it. If the Miami defense falls on it, we're talking about a totally different scenario. The Dolphins are going up 2 scores. They win that game. And in that scenario, they are a half game out of first in the AFC East because they would have swept Buffalo. Instead, of course, Buffalo's going to win the division, and Buffalo won the game, and credit to them for that. On Tua, listen, I still don't buy that he is a great quarterback. I'm not even certain that I am certain that I don't buy that he is a top 10 quarterback. However, he is clearly better than I thought he was at the beginning of the year. He's clearly better than the Dolphins thought he was when they repeatedly tried to get rid of him. And I think he showed in that game that even as teams are adjusting, even in cold weather, even in a playoff atmosphere, he is a guy that could go win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the Chargers are going to be the 5 seed because I don't see another loss coming for them. And I think the Dolphins and the Ravens are going to be the 2 other wild card teams. I think those are 3 incredibly dangerous wild card teams if the teams are healthy for, the divisional champions that don't get the bye.
Listen, this is almost a business question. I was talking to the staff today. I said, when the Patriots go out and say Mac Jones can't throw a Hail Mary, what it's essentially saying to the free agent market, tight ends, receivers, is we don't believe in our quarterback. We just don't believe in him. Well, McVay, if there's a free agent out there, can say, I got Matt Stafford. We're going to be back. I got L.A.
Yep.
New England's like, you'll have to take a pay cut. It's system over star. Like, do you think this thing, I asked Peter King, he didn't buy it, that this Patriot way, it's unraveling really, really fast right now?
Oh, I don't know why Peter wouldn't buy that. I think it's quite obvious. Listen, Bill Belichick can still obviously coach defense, and the defense is excellent. But I have almost a different question for you, Colin, because listen, Mac Jones stinks. He's been bad ever since that win game in Buffalo where they only let him throw 3 passes. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. This weekend, they almost won despite him. We then found out in a 30-second period that he has the weakest arm of any starting quarterback and the worst tackling form of any starting quarterback. Not a great 90 seconds for Mac Jones. But let's go to the other coast, Colin, and look what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Brock Purdy. And the question I would ask is, why can't the Patriots and Bill Belichick do what Kyle Shanahan has done, or Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, which is pick the players that lead to having a dominant defense year after year after year? The Patriots have a good defense, but they certainly don't have the defense the San Francisco 49ers have.
Right.
And on offense, why can't you scheme it up the way Kyle Shanahan can to where your team is quarterback independent rather than quarterback dependent when you are the smartest football mind allegedly ever? Like, I think when you can't say, well, the Patriots' problem is Tom Brady left, when you see that on the West Coast, the Niners haven't had a solid quarterback the entirety of the time Shanahan and Lynch have been together, and yet they've been to a Super Bowl, been to an NFC championship game, and this year, to me, are the NFC favorites. Like, I do think there is quite a bit of luster wearing off with Belichick, and that's before you even get to the asinine coaching staff decisions he's made.
Yeah. Hey, I want to... We talk about this because J-Mac loves Zach Wilson, and you know I'm into quarterbacks. And I believe it used to be 3 years, and now I think it's Thanksgiving second year, is that these kids come into the sport. College football, they didn't even throw the ball that much 25 years ago. Everybody's spreading it around, quarterback camps. By the time a guy goes into the NFL, you know, they can sit and watch. I mean, Lamar second year, Herbert first start, Kyler Murray early. You can see, even Jalen Hurts, a second rounder, by a second year, you're like, oh, all right. What would you do with Zach Wilson? What would you do at the end of the season?
Done with him. I'm done with him. I mean, he can be on the roster because he's so cheap. But here's Colin, I'm going to correct the record here on something I think NFL media and therefore then NFL fans get wrong all the time. People believe that missing on a top 5 quarterback, missing on a top 5 pick, sets your franchise back years and years and years. No, it does not. Missing on a top 5 quarterback and not admitting you missed is what sets your franchise back. Top 5 picks miss all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, the Mitch Trubisky's draft, the pick after him, Solomon Thomas, D-tackle for the Niners. Didn't work out, didn't hurt them at all. Josh Rosen was taken in the top 10 or 11. They moved on from him immediately. What kills you is when you draft Mitch Trubisky, when you draft Blake Bortles, when you draft a guy, Sam Darnold, that you know 18 starts in. He's cooked. He's not the guy, and you deny it, and you won't admit it. The Jets are fine as long as they admit the mistake.
Yep.
Now, I understand some people might say, well, if you do that, who are you giving up on too early? Who are these quarterbacks that in year 4 all of a sudden blossomed? I guess the answer is Ryan Tannehill. But even Tannehill, if that's the ceiling, it doesn't exist. And so I think the problem NFL teams have with drafted quarterbacks is not too quick of a trigger. It's too long of a leash.
Yeah.
And to me, Zach Wilson is drawing dead, at least with the Jets, to be a successful quarterback. And them acknowledging that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a great point. Give me all the examples of guy who popped in year 4 that everybody gave up on. It's a great point. Finally, listen, I never root for people to get hurt. It stinks. But I kept saying, move Anthony Davis. Move him now. Because now he's hurt again, which lowers his trade value. I said yesterday, Anthony Davis fans are crypto bros. You can burn them 1,000,000 times. They'll buy more stock. It's like, what do you do with the Lakers and LeBron now? LeBron's still playing at an amazing level. What do you do with Anthony Davis? What do you do here?
Well, you do this. You cross your fingers, and you say, "We hope that the 60% of the time that he's healthy coincides with the postseason." That's all you can do. Now, as far as what you do with the Lakers, to me, you have an obligation to improve the roster via trade. The idea that you would sign a soon-to-be 38-year-old LeBron James in year 20 to a contract extension and then see him play the best anyone has ever played in year 18 or 19 or 20, except for people named LeBron James. He's 27, 9, and 7. They've won 11 of their last 17 games, including last night when everybody sat. And then be like, well, we don't want to trade that 2029 pick because we have to be concerned. No, you don't. You don't sign someone that old who's still that good along with keeping Anthony Davis and then not put more chips in the middle of the table. They are currently giving Patrick Beverley, who is the single worst offensive player in basketball, significant minutes. You could trade Beverley and Nunn plus one of those picks and get a real return like Bojan Bogdanovic, or you could trade both of those picks and Russ and potentially get DeMar DeRozan from the Bulls who are falling apart, or trade two of those picks plus Beverley and Nunn for Fred VanVleet. There are things you could do. And the Lakers, to me, owe it to their fans, owe it to LeBron, and owe it to the hope that when the playoffs start, Anthony Davis is healthy because he was playing at such a high level, to do that, to give this team a chance in a very wide-open Western Conference.
Nick Wright, first things first. It's crushing. Great momentum. Wonderful show. Say hi to Kevin and Chris Broussard, buddy. Nice seeing you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.